Welcome to the LifePro podcast, where today I have the pleasure of having Jaryd Krause, he is a e-commerce entrepreneur. And today's topic is creating passive income, which is something I think about constantly, and I know it's a great path to wealth. Welcome to the show, Jaryd. How are you doing today?
I'm really good, Omid. Thank you for having me. I'm pronouncing your name correctly, right?
It's Omid, but I'm used to
Omid, sorry.
however way people say it. I'm used to it. So,
Omid.
uh, so before we get into the topic of the day, tell us a little bit more about yourself, your journey, what you do.
My journey, how far back do we go and how much time should I allocate to this?
As much as you're comfortable.
As much as I'm comfortable. Okay. So I grew up in Australia, very lucky to move to a small, what was a small town called the Gold Coast. Now it's insanely big. It's a city now, basically. And grew up here. It's by the beach. So I did a lot of surfing and went into become a plumber. Hated plumbing. Finished my apprenticeship. I worked my way through to become a supervisor. Hated that job. And
Right.
I would find myself drinking a lot and basically trying to escape like working 70-hour weeks and driving, spending 18 hours in the car commuting per week as well. And so had that outlet of just drinking too much. And then I would run away and go and travel. Like I'd quit my job, go travel for 6 months or go travel for a year. And on one of my trips, I got to a point, I was like, stuff this. I'm not going to go back to plumbing. I can't. It doesn't make me happy. It's very toxic for me, the environment and who I became as a person. And then I turned to the internet, and this was in 2013. So 10 years ago, I typed into Google how to travel the world and make money online. And then I came up with some ideas. One was a travel blog. So I started a travel blog. That didn't really make much money. Then I thought, okay, everybody is a travel blogger now because Instagram's huge and everybody's got a smartphone with a camera. Everybody's my competition. So I might start an e-commerce business. They're the businesses that make real money online. So started
Right.
that, and I knew nothing about paid advertising and made next to no money. It worked. It got a bit of money, but wasn't really the thing. And then I came across this stat that 90% of all startups fail. And I thought, wow, like I'd saved up a bit of money from plumbing and tried my luck in the stock market. And I thought, wow, if 90% of these businesses are failing, I need to start 10 of them
Right.
to just get one that's going to work. And that's a nightmare to me. So I thought, why maybe I can go away and find a business online that somebody wants to sell me. So I started Googling that, and I found that I could buy businesses online, and I taught myself how to buy my first small business, and I bought one. That went well. I bought a second one. That went really well, and that replaced my income totally as a plumber. I quit and then started traveling. And then people were like, dude, you need to teach me this stuff. Like, you need to teach me how
Yep.
you bought these businesses. And that's how my business, buyingonlinebusinesses.com, started, where we now have a membership and we teach people to buy businesses and then scale them and grow them and either flip them or hold them.
That's great. So you mentioned 90% of startups fail. So what do you look for when you're looking to buy a business? Is it obviously, are these businesses that you're looking to buy, are they thriving, or they need some TLC?
It depends on your approach and your investment criteria. Excuse me. So some people will want to buy a business that's run down, excuse
Mm-hmm.
me, and fix it up. My goal is to help people have a better lifestyle. And what we do is we facilitate helping people replace their income so they can spend more time doing what they love with the people they love and having less stress and less work. If you're going to buy a fixer-upper, typically it costs more money than you thought it would to renovate, just like renovating a property,
Right.
and typically more time and a lot of stress. And typically a lot of people that do a renovation to flip a house, they're like, I'm not going to do that again, right? So I try and steer people away from that method and buy a thriving business. There's no right or wrong, because there are people that are, buyers and flippers. But I like to go through the Warren Buffett approach. And he says it's
Yep.
better to buy a good business at a fair price than a fair business at a good price.
Right.
And I'm a big believer in you get what you pay for. So I typically steer people to buying more established businesses. But sometimes people are not in that positioned financially to buy a more established business, and they need to start doing the smaller deals and ones that need a bit TLC before they move into buying the lifestyle businesses.
And do you help your clients understand the valuations and what to look for as far as financials and opportunities? Are those the primary things you work on?
Yeah, that's why our business exists, is we help people to not buy lemons.
Right,
And
exactly.
learn how to do due diligence and value the businesses, negotiate, get them under market value. Yeah.
And that's remarkable what you do. And I think that as the internet is obviously here to stay, and it's only going to continue to grow. So I think there obviously opportunities are going to continue to grow. And it's amazing that we can now, we came from a world where when we were young, where everything was so localized and all businesses were basically in your neighborhood, to now you can sell to anyone all over the world. So I think it's remarkable. E-commerce is something that I've had a history of myself, and I've been able to kind of realize its potential. So I think that's remarkable what you're doing. Today's topic is a little bit more fine-tuned as far as passive income. Obviously, owning an e-commerce business the goal is to create passive income. But what is if you can help us define what passive income is for our viewers?
Yeah. Firstly, thank you so much for your acknowledgement as well. I really do appreciate that. Passive income, it can mean different things to different people, right? My perception, just like selfishness has a different definition or a different feeling and meaning to somebody else. For me, I think being selfish is a great thing, because you should put yourself first, as long as it's not going to hurt somebody else. Other people have the perception that selfish is like it's only about you and the whole world revolves around you, which I think is incorrect to definition of selfishness. I think selfishness is healthy. If you fix yourself first, Omid, and you do you're going to be better for everybody else. So you're actually helping to heal the world in your own light through selfishness. So that's a different definition and different perception of what that is, as an example and an analogy against passive income. Sometimes people think passive income is like you need to do absolutely nothing when you own a business or when you invest. There's different levels of passivity, and we can have like full passive, we can have semi-passive, and not very passive.
Right.
And it depends on what that one person is looking for. I find that people, as they age, typically they want more passivity. Right. I find when we're younger, like I could be basically almost fully passive with my income streams, but hell is it boring. Like I need to have some work. This is why I'm here having a chat and doing some work. It's because I love this, and I don't know what I do with my time. So I think passive income is great. It's a really good end goal to have full passivity, because then what it allows you to have is basically options to then do the things that you want, and then you can choose to have full passivity or semi-passivity.
Yeah. I mean, when I think of passive income, I think of working on my business and not in my business.
Yes.
And maybe you can kind of delve a little bit deeper into that philosophy.
So important. Working in your business means you're doing the deliverables, right? And the deliverables are making sure clients are looked after, people are getting results and all that sort of stuff, which in turn can help you grow the business, but not as much as working on the business and being on the outside and looking at it and being able to pull levers, right? You're very in control of the machine rather than the business controlling you, but based on, this person needs this, I need to run and fix this fire, I need to do that. That's definitely working in the business, versus working on the business. Working on the business allows you to have those options and steer the business down the direction that is best for everybody.
Yeah, I agree. And
awesome growth.
And one of my favorite books of all time is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And one of my biggest takeaways from that book is leveraging people that know more than you, hiring those people for their expertise and maximizing their worth to you. How have you, or give us maybe examples of how people can do that, or how you have done that in the past?
In terms of hiring.
Hiring, or maybe I've gotten to situations where I've had to either learn a process myself, or I could hire somebody else to do it for me, and leverage that experience.
I'm so much about hiring. If it depends on where you're at. Sometimes you need to do the work yourself. And I was very much at that point, right? Like I was a plumber. I didn't get a lot of money handed to me. I had to earn my way through and do a lot of work to start doing things myself. I had to learn Facebook ads and
Yeah.
all the things. And when you can get to a point, if you can, and your business is in a financial position to be able to do this, I believe that and even if it's sometimes a bit of a stretch to be able to afford that person to do the work for you, I think it's the best use of your investment dollars and time, because then you're putting smarter people to work. The people that have been in, like, say, Facebook marketing or YouTube marketing or whatever it is, they've got the whole career behind them, and you've just started learning it. You're better off paying them to do the work, and you free up your time to working on the business more so, and then taking it in the direction that you want to do. And leaning into people that are better than you in those areas, and giving them ownership, giving them responsibility, holding them accountable as well. And I think depends on how big you want to grow your business and how many people you want to serve. I think if you are just a solo entrepreneur, which is fine, it's great if you want that. But I think we should really be conscious of what a solo entrepreneur is. It's just you. And if you really wanted the best and reach a bigger range of people and serve more, then you have to build something bigger than yourself. And I, unfortunately, for many years at the start of my journey, I was like, I'm going to be a self-made millionaire. And quickly realized, like, that's a toxic thing to have, or belief to have, because it's going to hold me back from my actual goal. But people think I want to be a self-made millionaire and entrepreneur and serve the masses. But the reality is the goal that you want is not going to be achieved with the vehicle and the belief system that you're running of being a solo entrepreneur.
Right. So as far as different ways of creating passive income, obviously e-commerce is phenomenal and very scalable and mobile. Like, you can do it from anywhere. What other ways come to mind as far as creating passive income that you advise other people?
So what we do is we teach people to buy online businesses. So I stick with this path. I typically steer people away from e-commerce businesses because, like I said to you before, my goal is to teach people or get people to have more of a passive income and get to more of a lifestyle position and have more options. With an e-commerce business, typically there's so many moving parts, and you do need a lot more team, and you need to manage more people, which equals more work as well. And and the profit margins are not as amazing as some other business models, and then the level of competition is insane with people just flooding billions of dollars into ad spend. So you really need to have specific knowledge to be able to at least hire a digital marketer that's not going to screw you over.
Right, absolutely.
So that's one type of business model. The other two types of business models is like a membership business or a software business, software as a service. That's like typically the dream business that most people want to achieve and get to.
Yeah.
Because they're more passive. They can be more passive. But then you've also, where most people start out, and where I suggest most people start out, is blogs and media businesses. A blog is a business that just, a blog, you're creating a blog post and you make money through affiliate marketing or affiliates and ad revenue.
Right.
So there's some different ways that you can have passive income. Obviously, you can have passive income through investing in other investments as well, like property and ETFs and stock market, share market.
Does it always require money to make money, or is that a myth? Or can you actually make money without any money?
That's such a good question. you can make money without having money, and I've done it. So it's not a myth. However, money is like rocket fuel if you're
Right.
trying to make money. If you're trying to make money in investing in real estate and in buying stocks, you need money to purchase that, right? Typically, you need skin in the game. You can buy properties with no money down. Yeah, sure. And it's very difficult and very hard. Typically, you're going to need some level of leverage, and why people would invest in you. Like maybe you're a developer, maybe you've got some specific knowledge that other people can't have, that you can add leverage and value to the deal. And same with a business, you might be able to do that, but you really need to have that specific leverage and knowledge. However, yeah, money is, you don't need money to make money if you're going to start a business or you're going to start something from scratch, but money definitely is rocket fuel that's going to take it to the next level.
And what advice do you have for people listening that might be working a 9-to-5 job? They like the stability of that, but also want to create passive income. Do you have any advice for those people?
Yeah, for sure. I would say, even if you don't like your job, stay with it until you get to a point where you have options of another income stream. A lot of people have come to me and said, Jaryd, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to buy a business. I'm like, great. And they've got cash, right? They got cash. They're ready to buy a business. And I say, cool, I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to work with you. Why? And they're like, why? Like, I can do this. I'm like, you can. But what happens is, if you haven't found a business in 6 months' time, you're going to buy a business that's not right for you because you're stressed, because you're not making an income. It's just a psychological thing that happens for most people. And so I bought 2 businesses before I left my job and replaced my income. So I was making more from my plumbing job from the 2 businesses before I left. So I typically tell people to just stick it out. I didn't like my job when I first started. Obviously, if there's a mental health issue that your job is causing, or some other physical health issue, then yeah, maybe find another one as a disclaimer. But if you can just hack it and grind it out for that period, it's really beneficial to have another income stream, your primary income stream, whilst you're building something else. And I would typically tell people to not leave that 9-to-5 job until they have security in an income stream that is covering more than their already wage.
Yeah. And going back to what you said, when we started, 90% of startups fail. So you might have a great idea and think that you should quit your job and get started on this, but you really have to prove the concept and create a formula that works, and then get to a point where you can scale that idea after it's proven. And then we could talk about you leaving your current job and focusing on bigger and better. So I think that's a great lesson. LifePro podcast is the manual to life. And I like to say everything in life comes with a manual except for life itself. So all my guests get these next few questions, and it doesn't have to be related to passive income or entrepreneurship. But what is one thing that you'd love to teach the world?
One thing I'd love to teach the world is to be kinder to yourself. That's it. I think a lot of people put some stress is good and it's healthy. But I think there's a lot of unnecessary and unhealthy stress that we put on ourselves. And I think, well, I know the healthier you are and the better mental state that you have, the better person you're going to become, and the more you can lean into your natural gifts and what you're here for. Not everybody's meant to be an entrepreneur. Not everybody's meant to be a carpenter. Not everybody's meant to be, a professional athlete. But when you are the healthiest version of yourself, because you're kinder to yourself, you can then discover and work out who you're supposed to be, how you can help people, how you can help the world, and how you can help yourself. And you can do that from a place of love rather than stress and fear.
Yeah. I love that so much. And I think that as a society, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, like you said, and it really comes down to balance, right? Like doing the things that you enjoy, surfing, to taking care of yourself, doing the fun things, and balancing out your work day. balancing out your family work-life balance and getting to a point where, you know, you have clarity and focus, and all that comes with, you know, having the right mindset. So I love everything you said and completely agree with that. And I hope that, you know, people take that away with them during this
It's a
podcast.
tricky one. It's a really tricky one to work on. Like I think the hardest thing to work on is to work on yourself, because you got so many things that are in the way, and belief systems and traumas that may be stored in the body or in the mind. But then also society, outside the societal conditioning, is telling us like to what success looks like. And where we've got this own map, well, we've got this map of what success looks like. But it may not be the right level of success for you. And we've got so many distractions, so many things going on. And most people just pour more things into their life. Like, I have like just more kids and more activities and more things going on. And they just remove themselves so far away from who they actually are, because they've got so many distractions, and they physically can't work on themselves, or mentally can't work on themselves, because there's too many other things on their plate. And that is a coping mechanism as well for a lot of people. It's like, I can't deal with, or I can't sit by myself, or I can't meditate. Not that everybody needs to meditate, but they just can't sit with themselves and be. And that's a coping mechanism. And I think if we can sort of break down those things and understand, like, it's going to be a bit shit sometimes. You have to sit with your thoughts that you don't want and overcome them. But you're gonna set yourself up for success by doing so.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I think sometimes you just have to take a step back and be mindful of your situation and really reflect on, you know, your mental health and your well-being, and get to a point where, you know, I need to make a change. And once you get to that point, everything becomes a little bit easier. But, you know, you're right. We're all in the grind. We're all kind of in the day-to-day monotony of every day is kind of, you know, something else, some other problem. And we're just kind of we're thrown an influx of issues constantly. And I think it's important to just take the time and just slow it down and make some changes and do what's best for you. And then once you do what's best for you, then you have better relationships and everything from work to your friends and family and your home life will be better for it.
Selfishness comes back to selfishness.
Exactly. Be selfish and focus on your goals and do what makes you happy, because obviously the goal of creating passive income is so you could live your life and do the things that you want to do and have balance in your life, and not overwork or not underwork, and just find the right balance. I spoke of Rich Dad Poor Dad as an influence on me when it comes to passive income. Was there a book that had a major impact on you and maybe kind of changed the trajectory of your life?
That exact book as well. There was two books that I got when I was 15. So I've been doing personal development now for 20 years. And it was that book and Tony Robbins' Unleashing the Power Within. They were two very instrumental books. And then the next one down the line was basically, I'd say 9-10 years after those books. And it was Ryan Holiday's book called The Obstacle is the Way, touching on stoicism and emotional intelligence. And I was like, I was with a partner at the time. I was like I didn't know much about emotions as a man, emotional intelligence, and just feeling and knowing how to use emotional intelligence to my advantage. So that was a huge book, and not just emotional intelligence for like connecting with humans in intimate and non-intimate relationships, but also within business, and understanding that when shit hits the fan, like you don't have to fall over as well.
Right. The funny thing is, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad about 20 years ago, and then I read it again recently, and it was completely different. Like I took so many different things out of it now, and I saw it so many different ways. And it's interesting that like when you read certain books at different points in your life, they mean different things. And sometimes you just have to read the right book at the right time to have the major, influence on you and impact on your, your future. So I thought that was interesting for me.
It's so interesting and so cool that like 20 years later, you can pick up this book and get other insights. I say that with people that do
Yes.
my courses and stuff like that. I'm like, redo them again.
Yeah.
Because if you think about your view of the world, your lens of the world,
Right.
maybe they may have a lot more distortion as a younger version of yourself. And as you grow, you clean parts of that lens off. And then you use that lens to look at the same thing again. You're like, oh, wow, I can see so much more, or these other things that I couldn't see before.
Yeah.
It's a really cool way to think about it.
And going back to what we said as far as like working with other people, I mean, the benefit of working with somebody like you that has been there and done that and can guide you to purchasing e-commerce business. Obviously, if you you could do it on your own, but why not do it with somebody that's been there and knows what to do and what to look for? So I think that that's obviously the essence of all of this is information is key, and all information to creating wealth. That's all it is. Hard work, putting in the time, and making the right decisions. So I think that's
it's the right information as well.
right.
Because I think when I've got a podcast, I've got a YouTube channel, and I'm not knocking those, but when people consume so much content, it's like there's 7 million different strategies and ways that we can make money online.
Right.
And you got to choose the right one for you. And then when you do, you try and do it, but you're still going to have blockages along the way. And the only person that knows what those blockages are before you get them is somebody that's already been on that path.
Right.
And having them help you see them is like, that's where the best ROI in growing a business is investing not just into digital marketing, but investing into somebody that can help you see clearer, right? They're going to help you clean your lens and see clearer.
Yeah. So speaking of which, how could people reach out to you or follow you?
Yeah, so you could type my name into Google, Jaryd Krause, or you could go to buyingonlinebusinesses.com. We have quite a large YouTube channel, Buying Online Businesses, and podcast. We're rated in the second best passive income podcast online, one under Pat Flynn. So people can check that out if they want as well.
Yeah, I've had a chance to see some of your episodes and looking forward to actually viewing some more. I know the content you put out is great, and continue what you're doing. It's phenomenal. And I really enjoyed our conversation today. I know I got a lot out of it, and I'm excited to, as an entrepreneur to, for my future ventures, and creating passive income is going to be key to a bridge to not only wealth, but a happier life, which is the theme of our show. So I thank you for your time. I hope you had some fun.
I had so much fun. Thank you so much. Awesome questions. You constructed some great questions, and the avenues we went down, like, I really appreciate it. I get so much fulfillment from this, if you can't tell. So thank you so much for having me on.
I love it. Every time I do a podcast with a great guest like you, I can't wait to do the next one. So I'm excited. Thank you so much for your time, and you take care.
You too, Amit. Thanks.